Hey everybody, it is January 25th, 2022 daily devotional for you today. Uh, the last readings for this month, the 25th set of readings, are Matthew chapter 10, 1 to 20, Acts chapter 15, 1 to 21, Psalm 23, and Genesis 50. So we've read all the way through the book of Genesis, and we are halfway through Acts, and I don't know, about a third of the way through Matthew. And so I encourage you, you now have extra days. If, like 6 more days in the month, if you miss some readings, to go back and catch up now. If you're behind, catch up. If if you've read everything, to either find a new a book to read in this time, or to really go back and review them. If you really got time, sit down and go through and read all that you've read through in Matthew, but read it all at once. And it's a big chunk, I know, but it won't take as long as you think that it will. When you read it all together like that, you'll catch some things you didn't see the first time, and you'll see things in a different light. Sometimes when we dice up scripture and read it in these little bits and pieces, we fail to see how it's a part of a bigger story that's being told. We group it into a bunch of little, Sunday school lesson bite-sized stories, when really it's a bigger picture thing. And so, I'll talk the rest of the month about some of the bigger picture things that I noticed in those books. Or again, if you've got questions about anything you've read, or anything that you're reading at all, even if it's not about what we've been reading, encourage you to ask them, comment and leave them, ask them, send me a message, give me a call, send me an email, whatever. And I'd love to take some time to delve into those questions and answer them for you. Even just a word. Hey, what does this word mean? Why is this word used? Why does it say it this way? This doesn't make sense to me. I would love to help you with those and these extra days that we have. And so today in Genesis 50, we wrap up the story of Genesis. And what really, for me, I've kind of just taken some time to concentrate on. I was just thinking about forgiveness, because we've already talked about that with Joseph, and how he forgave his brothers for selling him into slavery, and what that looked like. And his father has died, and they go and bury him, and his brothers are scared and send him this message and say, hey, Dad told us to make sure that you forgave us for what we did to you, because now they think Dad's dead. He's got nothing keeping him. Like, Dad was the buffer from keeping Joseph from getting his revenge. And in fact, they offer themselves as slaves. Like, that's a fair payment. We made you a slave, now we're your slaves. And clearly there's still pain there. There's still hurt, because when Joseph gets this, he weeps. Maybe he weeps because he thinks their relationship's restored, and now he's seeing that it isn't. And surely he weeps because there's still pain, because what he went through was hard. But he gives this message back to his brothers and talks about, how what they intended for evil, God used for good. And how, yeah, he went through hard things because of it, but how many lives were able to be saved because of what he went through. And we can look back on the things that have happened to us in life with one of two lenses. We can look back on the pain. We can look back on the struggle. We can look back on the heartache, and then we can dwell on that. And we can allow that pain to swell and stick and stay. But when we forgive, it doesn't mean that the scars aren't there, and it doesn't mean the pain wasn't real, but it means we shift focus away from the pain and away from the hurt and away from the bad consequences of what happened, and we start to see the good. We start to see what came to our lives because of it. To say, I'm not going to, it's not an excusing. Joseph doesn't say, no big deal, he sold me into slavery. No, he says, yeah, what you did was wrong, and what you did was hurtful. And I mean, what they did stole his family from him. But what they did led to God being able to use Joseph to save his family and to save countless others. And so Joseph doesn't allow his pain to muddy his perspective. He sees what God could do through the midst of his pain and suffering and heartache. And when we allow, it's not just forgiveness, it's not just sin, when we allow any kind of pain, any kind of heartache, any kind of wound to be our focus, then we never allow ourselves to move our lives past that. We never allow that to be used for good in our lives. Joseph moves on from it in a way not that takes away the scars, but that uses the scars to bring life to others. Does he say that makes the pain worth it? No. He says it gives it meaning, though. It gives it purpose. He brought me to this position so I could save the lives of many people. He sees God using it. He sees God's purpose in it. And so he says, who am I to punish you? That's not for me. Me dealing with the wrong things that were done isn't my job, he says. My job is to be who God has called me to be. My job is to use the opportunity God has given me to do good in lives instead of allowing the evil that's been done to me to be the focus of my life. His focus is on the good that he can do through what God has done in him rather than on the pain and heartache that he could harbor because of the evil that's done to him. Which focus have you used in your life? Are you constantly thinking about they did this, they said this, because it will consume you, it will destroy you from the inside out? Or are you focused now, forward thinking, looking and saying, look at the good that God can do through me and in me because of where my life has been and where I am now? Because no matter where your life is, God can use it for good. God can use you to bring love and hope and joy to all the people around you if you would allow him to. And so I would encourage you to change your focus away from the pain. Stop dwelling on the pain in the past and start looking for purpose in the future. Forgive and move forward and let God use you for his good.